Hi, welcome to day four. Today, I want to talk a little bit about systems engineering and how that really differs in some fundamental ways from design. And systems engineering is a practice that came out of NASA, so it's a methodical, multidisciplinary approach to design and realization and technical management and operations of a system. And that includes everything like the hardware, the equipment, facilities, personnel, processes, procedures. So, in some ways, designing a system or designing a process or a problem that we are going to be looking at over the coming days, weeks, and months is designing an industry could be approached through systems engineering. And systems engineering has some really great tools attached to it. Um, Including things like human-centered design and ergonomic design. Like if you look at the ISO requirements for 11064, you'll see so much in being able to design for things like a control center. There's also other ISO standards that have to do with ergonomics and the study of how people can work effectively. And I think that what's left out in ergonomics and in systems engineering is that it doesn't take into account thinking about what emotions and emotional states that you can make happen to people um, when you design a system or design a workplace or design an industry, because what design is where it differs from engineering is that you're centered on what is going on with the people and the people that are surrounded around the thing that you're designing. So, like when we had talked yesterday with Paul Holter, there is a lot more to look at than the technical problems. Um, Even if you solve all of the technical problems and you solve them really well, what can happen is that you don't look at the emotional states that you want to provide for the people working in the space. So if you look at um, control rooms as an example, then you are looking at, from a design perspective, how can I make them feel calm and in control and trusting the system, versus when you look at it from an engineering perspective, how do I give them all the tools that they need and make those tools easy to access? Um, you're not testing for that um, calmness or trust or how they'll really work well with the system, and what humans are really good at. Some things that come to mind is SINTEF, the research organization. They have something they call Humans in Control, and Humans in Control Forum has some really great speakers. They do it like twice a year in Norway, and one of them had been talking about a problem that happened on the London tubes, and they had done accident investigations on this. So they have drivers that are driving the subway cars, and after they introduced automation and they split the tasks and they basically automated most of the job for the operators. Excuse me. And what had happened when they did that is that the operator's role was to check that the system was safe to operate. So the train would pull into the station, people would get on and off, the doors would close. Then the operator is to look at the screen that's monitoring around the train to see if anyone is caught in the doors or to check that everything is okay. And then they push the button that says, "Okay, train, you're clear to go." And they do that hundreds and hundreds of times a day. And if you can think about, when you as a person, especially if you've been like a lookout at sea or you've done these kind of repetitive tasks. The problem is that after a while, you're not very good at monitoring and making sure that everything is necessarily the way it should be. So after a while, you get kind of fatigued at the checking. So you look at the screen, you press the button, the train goes. You look at the screen, you press a button, the train goes. You look at the screen, you press a button, the train goes. And what happened was they were actually having some accidents happen because, people would have their tote bag and swing it into the door to try to keep the train door open so that they could get in. And depending on what station it was, there were some blind spots in the camera or someone missed something. They press the button and the train goes and the person gets dragged along the platform. And they investigated a lot of accidents like that and then started looking into, well, how do we prevent this decision fatigue? Maybe the task split wasn't right. Maybe we didn't design the workplace right. And I'm sure that you can think about a million times that you've used something where it was frustrating to use, but met all of the functional requirements. So, but from the engineering standpoint, it met all of the requirements, but from a humanistic design standpoint, it didn't account for emotional states or decision fatigue or other problems that we have because we're human. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I put on my website already some of these items, and I'll put also the link for the Human Factors and Control Forum if you're interested in that. And if you want to talk about more things about designing the ocean space and about this experiment or about any of the future phases of the project, please contact me. And I hope you have a great Saturday. Bye.